Welcome to the United We Scan podcast, the podcast by rural carriers for rural carriers. The views expressed in this podcast are of the presenters and the presenters only and do not represent the views, opinions, or strategies of the United States Postal Service or the National Rural Letter Carriers Association. We ask that you please consult your assigned union representative for guidance in your local area. Please like this podcast, share with your fellow rural carriers, and subscribe to be notified each time a new episode is uploaded. Please leave a comment or question for us below. Thank you. Now, here are the hosts of the United We Scan podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 104, the last episode of 2024. Wow. Tonight we're kind of going to review how this year has gone and what our plans are for next year. But I think we'll start off after we get through our rambling a little bit with each other. I think we'll start off with the biggest news that happened today of former President Jimmy Carter passing away. And we'll go through what the guidelines are for a day of, what do they call it?
Day of mourning.
A day of mourning, National Day of Observance, clarifications and regulations. We'll definitely cover that because I know there's plenty of carriers out there that have not been around for when this has happened in the past. And I know with the last former president that passed away, I was still in RCA. So we'll cover that on what the clarifications mean on when that day is announced. And until then, James, how was your week?
Lots of carrier questions. It wasn't too bad of a week, especially with Christmas in there. And it was pretty heavy Monday, but Tuesday was about normal overall. I mean, it was like night and day between Monday and Tuesday, the number of packages we had. They like fell off the table. And then Thursday was a little heavy, but not too bad. And Friday, of course, was super light in my office. I know some offices weren't getting too much either, but I have also heard some offices have lost their UPS drops already. And you know, UPS did say they're adding 3 million of the SurePost packages back into their system for their drivers to deliver, like FedEx did. So we're going to be dealing with that as well. But for like my route, it's maybe 10, 15 packages at most on my route because I get mostly Amazon and USPS parcels. So hopefully it's not too big of an effect on us and our REX evaluations. And then I got called in on Saturday. We ended up getting shorthanded, and because I'm looking at going to all the area conferences, I'll take as many X days as I can get right now, so I can use them for the conferences and save a little bit of money that way. But other than that, got Sunday together and had to do a repair to the kitchen sink drain today. So it's been a pretty working week, and then helping carriers every evening up until I go to bed. You know, the usual that I've always done, and just working every day. How about you, Bill? How was your not to do list?
Oh, God. Oh, it was a wonderful Monday. Christmas Eve Tuesday, went to my son and his wife's house for dinner. Christmas morning, had the youngest son, the girlfriend and grandbaby for breakfast, and then for dinner had my middle son, his wife, and the baby. So it was a nice family thing, and all within a 24-hour period. Lots of people complaining about not getting DPS or Amazon on Thursday. A couple of them carried over into Friday as far as the DPS was concerned. I have a carrier in my office that has a package stuck in Palmetto since December 15th. So the problems down there continue, and like you said, the UPS is reorganizing their packaging allocations to the United States Postal Service. But then again, Amazon is up to speed, and they're dumping a lot of stuff on this SDNC here. They were been going out with 2 to 3 hampers a day, or whatever you want to call them, pumpkins. But it's been mild around here too, which is strange. It was 60 degrees here in Pennsylvania, and it's like, okay, that is just a little strange for this time of year, but I'll take it. You know, it's enjoyable. And I won't be here next weekend because I'll be in the DR. Kristen, go find your places where you guys are at. But
yes.
since we're staying at a all adults place, I guess I won't find your place. But I'm looking forward to that. We're leaving out of here Saturday morning, and we'll be back Thursday night. So really looking forward to that. I need some island time. I need some water time. I love the water, so can't wait to get down there. Other than that, Kristen, how was your week going?
Monday was heavy. Tuesday was actually the heaviest Christmas Eve I've ever worked, honestly. Christmas went well. It was, it was a small little thing. And just, Ruby, little man, Eric, and I. And of course, little man made out like a bandit because it was his first Christmas. And then Thursday, well, no Amazon drop Thursday. Also, 4 rural routes and 1 city route in my office did not receive their DPS at all on Thursday. So Thursday was actually a nice day. It was nice to be clocked out by 10 after 1 and go home and enjoy the rest of the day. Friday, well, 2 runs of DPS. You would think if it didn't leave the plant that they could have been nice enough to rerun it all together, but no. So I had 2 runs of DPS on Friday. So packages were, pretty average. I think I had 99 on Friday, 82 on Thursday. So, and yeah, other than that, it wasn't too bad. We'll see what tomorrow brings. But I didn't work yesterday, so I had no clue what yesterday was like. I kind of relaxed at home. I kind of messed up a little bit because, I did my Christmas ham and I was thinking, all right, I can make a good ham and bean soup this weekend for dinner. So I got up yesterday morning and I put it all in the crock pot, get it going. I'm thinking, great, it'll be done by middle of the afternoon, perfect timing. Till I looked at it and realized that the crock pot was only on warm for 5 hours and not on high. That's why I don't try to do that as soon as I wake up. So I turn it on high. And you'll say we did end up with some really good soup by about 9:15 last night and finished it off today. But, things happen. It was like Christmas dinner. my brain's been elsewhere when I go to make my scalloped potatoes and forgot to put the milk in them before I put the potatoes in the oven. Yeah, it happens. I corrected it 45 minutes later. They turned out okay. Okay. But other than that, not too much on the home front with me, though. So it's been pretty quiet for the most part.
Sounds like that asshole in my house who makes coffee at night and sets it up for the next morning. My wife turns it on. I come down and there's no coffee. You need water, okay?
Right.
And boy, do I start cursing.
It happens. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a Thanksgiving where I forgot to put the sugar in the pumpkin pies one year, so.
Oh.
Why is this not tasting right? Yeah.
Damn.
It happens. I'll never live that one down in the house, though, let me tell you.
All right.
So, yeah. So, we're gonna kind of kick off a little bit here with the newest update with former President Carter passing away, because I know that one's gonna be on. What's going on? How does this work? So, this was an MOU that was signed back in 2000. It literally is just a clarification of regulations for the National Day of Observance. The parties agree that the following procedures will apply to affected employees if the Postmaster General or designee determines that the Postal Service will participate in a National Day of Observance, e.g. National Day of Mourning. subsequent to the declaration of a National Day of Observance having been made by executive order of the President of the United States. Number 1. Regular rural carriers whose basic work week includes the National Day of Observance as a scheduled work day, but who are not directed to report for work, will be granted administrative leave for that day. Number 2. Regular rural carriers who are directed to work on the national observance will be granted a day of administrative leave at a future date. Number 3. Regular rural carriers whose basic work week includes the National Day of Observance as a relief day will be granted a day of administrative leave at a future date. Number 4. Rural carriers in the following categories whose basic work week includes the National Day of Observance as a scheduled work day, but who are not directed to report to work, will be granted a day of administrative leave for the daily evaluated hours of the scheduled route not to exceed 8 hours. A. Part-time flexible rural carriers, designation code 76. B. Substitute rural carriers serving a vacant route or in the absence of a regular rural carrier in excess of calendar days. This is a designation code 72. Not sure if we have any of those left around, but just in case we do. Letter C. Rural carrier associate serving a vacant route or serving a route in the absence of a regular carrier in excess of 90 calendar days. This is the designation 74s. D is auxiliary rural carriers, designation code 77. Again, not sure if we have any of those, but just in case. And E is your rural carrier associates assigned to an auxiliary route in excess of 90 calendar days, designation code 79. Those would be the only leave replacements that would be paid administrative leave for the daily evaluated hours of the scheduled route. Number 5. Rural carriers in the categories referenced in item 4 above who are directed to work on the National Day of Observance will be granted administrative leave equal to the daily evaluated hours for the scheduled route not to exceed 8 hours at a future date. 6. Substitute rural carriers, designation code 73, rural carrier reliefs, designation code 75, and rural carrier associates, designation code 78, will only receive pay for actual work hours performed on the National Day of Observance. They will not receive administrative leave. So if you are an RCA who goes in to run parcels that day, that's all you're going to get paid for. If you are instructed not to work or directed not to work, not scheduled to work, then you're not going to get anything, unfortunately. 7. If a regular rural carrier is on leave or continuation of pay, which is OWCP, on the National Day of Observance, the employee will be granted a day of administrative leave on a future date. 8. If a rural carrier referenced in item 4 above is on leave or continuation of pay on the National Day of Observance, the employee will be granted administrative leave for the number of hours indicated in item 4 above, which again was item 4, will be granted administrative leave for the daily evaluated hours of the scheduled route, not to exceed 8 hours. Number 9. A regular rural carrier or carrier referenced in item 4 above on OWCP, AWOL, suspension, non-pay, non-duty status in accordance with Article 16, or pending removal on the National Day of Observance will not be granted administrative leave. If the carrier on AWOL, suspension, or pending removal is returned to duty and made whole for the period of AWOL, suspension, or removal, the employee may be eligible for administrative leave for the National Day of Observance if the period of suspension or removal for which the carrier is considered to have been made whole includes the National Day of Observance. Such determination will be made by counting back consecutive days from the last day of the suspension or removal to determine if the employee had been made whole for the National Day of Observance. That was a lot to read. Number 10. Where provisions in this memorandum of agreement provide for a day of administrative leave to be taken at a future date, such leave must be granted and used within 6 months of the National Day of Observance or by the end of the fiscal year, whichever is later. However, administrative leave will not be granted to employees who are on extended leave for the entire period between the day of observance and 6 months from that date, or between the day of observance and the end of the fiscal year, whichever is later. Number 11, administrative leave taken at a future date must be taken at one time. 12, administrative leave to be taken at a future date may, at the employee's option, be substituted for a previously scheduled but not used annual leave. And 13, administrative leave to be taken at a future date should be applied by using the same procedure which governs the request and approval of the annual leave. So make sure if you're one of those that falls under the category of one for a future date, you have to fill out a 3971 and put down your administrative leave from National Day of Observance. So that was the clarification on how all that works.
So I just wanted to put this out there. The number 9 about being AWOL, suspension, non-pay, non-duty status, that actually does apply also to carriers who are on emergency placement because of the pods. It applies to them as well. And as I said at the end, they can determine whether you actually earned the National Day of Observance at a later date or not while you were on this emergency placement after all things have been settled and put away.
Yep, so make sure if you're one of those and you're working with your steward, that your steward, when they go to make you whole, does include the National Day of Observance administrative leave in that settlement. But, and again, that's just what we have for clarifications. There may be a new updated MOU. We don't know until announcements are officially made. That is just a guideline that was put out there 24 years ago.
4 years ago.
And depending on when they decide to have the National Day of Observance, it may be before we re-record our next episode. So we wanted to put it out there before that happened.
I know, because that was the big one this evening about National Day Observance. So we wanted to make sure we got, at least you guys had an idea of how it works prior to getting blindsided by it.
And how it worked before the next MOU comes out.
Exactly.
And yet the PMG has the final word in actually granting it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we know how MOUs work in this current union.
It'll be a joy to sign it.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, this one was signed by the vice president of labor relations at the post office. So we'll see who actually does sign it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
As tight as the belt is at the post office, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't get a day of observance. Really.
Yeah, the last one we had was December of 2018. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was still in RCA, so I didn't get anything out of that one. Other than a day off. All right, so we're kind of going to... Go ahead, James.
So, 2024.
Yeah.
It was a wild ride for this podcast, a wild ride for all three of us. Whirlwind through it all. It really went by fast for us, I think, overall.
It did. There's definitely been some highs, some lows. It's been all over the place this year. I'm kind of going back to, January 1st was when we published the first one for 2024. And, we kind of went completely, by February, we did our first Q&A for the three of us that ran for national this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, we've gone through a lot. It's been an interesting year, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, lots of midweek bonuses we put out too, and
Yep.
I mean,
yeah, we really did.
Exciting videos from the NRLCA.
Yeah,
lots of entertainment on those episodes from the NRLCA. My pitch counter lost count on a certain action in each video.
so
But,
I kind of pulled up our Spotify Wrapped because that's what we host on. So I'm kind of going to go through this a little bit. This says you took it to a whole new level this year, and we gained 41% in streams, followers. We gained 41% in streams. We gained 61% in followers this year. I mean, that's just crazy, guys. The word's been getting out there. Yeah. What
Yeah.
else we got?
While we've been out here doing this, growing the audience and stuff like that, it's been a natural growth overall.
Yeah. And no, it really has been.
We don't do advertising. We don't pay for advertising. We don't make any money on this.
Nope.
What?
Yeah, I still haven't seen my check, Kristen.
I'm retired. I need the extra money. Come on. Jesus Christ.
59% of our listeners discovered us this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
our top episode this year was Sunday Fun Day, Amazon, and more. It was streamed 154% more than our average episode.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
Now that we have video, we can start doing some thong videos.
Please no. Please no.
Well, you're just trying to get the listenership up, right?
I think that might turn people off, though. I mean, yeah.
There you go. Look, there's Bill going to the bathroom.
So other than our show, the people that also listen to us, the other number one podcast that our listeners listened to was the Joe Rogan Experience. Ooh. Number 2 was From A to Arbitration, our good friend Corey Walton. Number 3, Dateline NBC, Crime Junkie. Number 4, or excuse me, yeah, that was number 4. Number 5 was Morbid. I'm a Morbid listener, so I can get along with that. Wow, number 1. You guys listen to country out there, followed by pop and rap. And sorry guys, I'm a metalhead. A lot of audiobook engineers, mystery and theater, religion and spirituality. Yes, some of us definitely need that. And romance.
You do realize that we are rural carriers that work in rural areas, so most often rural people listen to country music over anything else.
Yeah, I know. Hey, and they didn't just list 61% of our audience watched the video on Spotify this year, which is pretty good because we've only been doing this for a few episodes. Yeah.
Once we finally figured out the way to get it done, thank you to our video editor.
Uh-huh. And we are in the top 10 show for 1.32 thousand fans.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And considering that all of our spread is completely organic, that is excellent.
Yes.
Yes.
We are in the top 5 for 1,100 of our fans, and we are the number 1 show for 582 fans.
So
it is. It's all organic. I mean, I get marketing emails all the time about the podcast, and what do I most of the time I just delete them. One I did because it's all about make more money and monetize and blah 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 and have a bigger reach. And one I finally replied to, and I said, we're not doing that. Thank you. Bye.
And you have to think about this. These marketing people, especially ones that use AI like Facebook and stuff like that, that want you to pay for advertising, don't even spread you to the people that would actually be interested in the topics you're talking about.
Exactly.
They're going to spread you to all the people that are on their platform, and most of them are just going to go, not for me. And you got to think about all the rural carriers that are out there. You, me, and y'all, everybody that's involved in all of this. And just rural carriers are our biggest focus on this. Yes, we have city carrier listeners. Yes, we have mail handlers listening to us. We even have clerks, managers, and
we have
union national officers.
Yeah. And management.
Don't forget our national officers are listening to us too. So, we want that organic spread. We want that organic spread because we want it to be to the rural carriers, because those are the people that are going to benefit the most from the information that comes off of here. And there was a lot of information over the last year. I know there's a lot of passion towards the treatment of rural carriers, but that is an everyday occurrence that occurs out here. And we like to talk about it because it is what we are experiencing out on the street, what carriers from all over this country are dealing with. I've talked with 3 different carriers this week alone that have been denied leave with relief carriers sitting at home. I've talked with carriers that are being forced to be out past 12 hours and things like that. That is why we get passionate about that stuff. That is why this podcast is here, is to shed a light on the issues that rural carriers are facing on the street. Because, especially with management, you shine a light in the dark room, the cockroaches start scattering.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's so funny is because my local steward, when I, get to the office and he'll ask me a question on something, or, they're on social media, but they're not on social media. They just flip through and read it and be like, so I seen something about this. Oh yeah, we covered that this week on the podcast. You did. They don't listen because they got crappy service where they're at, so it's just very difficult to do. But like, oh yeah, let me tell you a little bit more about what that was talking about. I do. I get that. And, I got another carrier in my office. Hey, did you see what was posted in your group? Yeah, I saw it. What's what we talked about? Sending me screenshots of postings from our Facebook group. And I'm like, yeah, I'm well aware of it, but thank you. Let me explain that a little bit more. No, it has definitely been a whirlwind. It was, it kind of, I don't know. It got pretty interesting and heated there for a little bit.
Well, just a mite.
Yeah, a little off the rails. So on that note, our plan for 2025 is we are definitely going to reel it in quite a bit and bring it back down to the basics and restart the educating. And I want, because I listen to Abe Arbitration every week as well when Corey's on. I love the fact that he's got that newer CCA that's been around for, a year and a half, who is starting to do his CCA corner now on Wednesdays and putting stuff up. A little rough around the edges, but I like where he's going with this. I wanted to do something for RCAs in the past when I was still in RCA when we first started. And we kind of had started it a little bit, but never really found through. So I'm going to put my call out there right now to all the RCAs that listen. Let's do something RCA focused. You don't necessarily have to come on here if you don't want to. If you want to come on here and remain anonymous, you can. That's fine. If you just want to email us at unitedwescanpodcast@gmail.com, your experiences, your tips. What are some things that you wish you had been told when you were first training or even further on? Or what are some things that for other RCAs out there, especially some of our newer ones, that can take away and make themselves better? Let's get let's focus on the newer generation coming up within the post office. Because we all know RCAs are the true backbone of the craft. I mean, without the RCAs, we're not getting our leave. Our routes aren't getting covered when we're sick. And not just RCAs, PTFs as well, leave replacements in general. Sorry about that. Never worked formula office, so, But, I want to put that call out there. Call out to action for our leave replacements. Let's get you active. I was, from the very beginning, an RCA that was active. Local meetings, local board, a local steward, state convention delegate, national delegate. I attended my regional conferences as an RCA. It's possible. So let's pull in our call of action for our RCAs and our PTFs. And let's see what we can do to help you guys out. It's not going to be something every week, maybe once a month. If we got some really good stuff that wants to come on or somebody wants to speak and just do a one-on-one, I'm more than happy to do a midweek with somebody to jump on here and let's start talking. I mean, I was an RCA for just under 9 years, so I can totally relate. I've only been a regular for a year, so that RCA stuff is still pretty fresh in my mind. But let's start doing that. Let's start going over some of the basics that not a lot of people think about or understand by reading or know where to look for that information. The PO 603. We're not going to do all that in one day, trust me. That would be a series.
Same with our contract, too. We need people to know the ins and outs of our contract that are pertinent to them. The whole contract's pertinent to the rural craft, but the very basic stuff out of the contract that you should know to protect yourself from management. Just like the ELM is like 1,000 pages long, but management loves to beat us over the head with it as soon as they take us in for an investigative interview or a pre-disciplinary interview.
Yeah, here's one, all of our jobs should be carrier. Today's rural or career, I think she was trying to say, today's rural craft isn't the rural craft of pre-RX. No, it is not. No. I mean, it's not the job that I started at, 10 years ago. And so let's make it, we're going to be updating a few things too, stuff that we may have covered in our earlier episodes that definitely need to be updating. But we are really going to be taking this back to the educational side and helping everybody out. Because I know a lot of people that listen while they're out on the route, or they'll listen while they're doing their workout or something of that nature, traveling to or from work, depending on how long their commute is. So, we're taking it back to the roots, where it needs to be to keep going in the future. Less political and a lot less hot-headedness. Of course, if we've got stuff that comes up...
that up. Yeah.
There are people
Come on
that
now.
still want the passion. There are people that still want the passion.
I didn't say we were going to cut the passion now, did I? I said
passion
some of the hot-headedness.
Oh, well, then we should just cut Bill out all the way.
No.
We're going to have to cut Bill out all the way for the hot-headedness here.
There's a difference between the hot-headedness and the passion, okay?
Yes.
And the quick reactiveness on some things. I think we need to sometimes take that step back.
It's not true. I'm not like that, okay? Just shut the fuck up. I'm sorry.
I feel a beep coming in the future of that one.
You better edit.
You gotta do it with the scanner beep.
Oh, I have that recorded. I can do that.
Oh God, that would be great. That would be great.
I just got to take it from my phone to the. I actually went through and recorded all the scanner beeps one day.
Right.
Or downloaded them. I'll have to find them. But no, I really think we need to get back down to the educational part. I
think we should have that. I think also we're going to have to still have the breaking news. We're still going to have the passion. We're still going to have a little bit of the political, especially like when that MOU came out. that people had to start paying back the Postal Service for the right to work for them, things like that. So we still have to stand up and protect the craft through the political aspect of it. And I know I'm running for office right now, but I think Bill would agree with me on that the political aspect is still going to be a part of it, because part of being in the union is being political with the craft.
Yes, but I'm just kind of going by what things turned into last year and trying to avoid where the issues were.
Yeah, we did do a lot of campaigning on the podcast last year.
Yes, I'm not
and that was
against
because-
campaigning to a point, okay?
But that was
Yeah, I
also
won't
because
campaign this year, okay?
all three of us were running for positions, and all three of us wanted to get our platform out there.
Exactly.
So this year, I've decided to mainly separate my platform from the podcast by creating my own page and running my platform from there. So that way we can keep most of it off of this platform. Now, I guarantee you guys are going to want some of it in here at some point, just like all the other podcast groups that are reaching out to me to come on because I'm running for president. So we'll work on that too this coming year. But I agree with you. It did get very, very one-sided political last year with the three of us all running. But we still are going to focus on the carriers. That is our ultimate focus, is the craft. Because as I do say at the end, we are all in this together, and it's up to us here as the presenters to present that united front of the craft.
You know, and we will do as time goes on and we get closer to national convention, you know, we will do specific campaign only episodes. You know, we'll throw some dirt at James or anybody else that wants to run and that's running and wants to come on. We'll do the trial by fire. Don't get me wrong, we will. But we're gonna try and keep those limited to just those episodes, while still trying to educate everybody else. You know, something pops up, we'll still do a midweek when, you know, if something big comes up or somebody's got a big announcement or something like that. I mean, I'm not opposed to the midweeks. If I get a bunch of leave replacements that all kind of want to do something in the middle of a week and come on, you know, I'm more than happy to step up and do that even if nobody else is available. So, you know, we're gonna do this. We're gonna, like I said, gonna definitely bring it back to the education and less of the bitching.
And speaking of education, let me put a little personal peeve out there, if I may. I really am at my wit's end with people who say, why should I know the contract? Isn't that what the stewards are for? Well, if you don't know the contract, how do you know if you're being violated by management, by their rules, by working more than 12 hours a day if you're an RCA, if you're being, delegated to pick up extra pieces when you're a regular and the MOU says, you must volunteer. They can't volunteer you, but the thing of it is that you do need to have basic knowledge of the contract to know when your rights are being violated. So don't put it on the stewards. The stewards can't do anything until you initiate the action. And the only way you can initiate the action is if you are knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
A knowledgeable carrier is a dangerous carrier.
Yes, it is.
It's the bane of management. Management hates knowledgeable carriers, and so when they first start filing on them and fighting against them with the truth, they start retaliating. But guess what? Then you start burying them in more paperwork. And eventually, after a while, management gets sick of having to sit in on all these meetings and getting calls from their district manager of, why do we have such high gas payouts in this office? This office used to not have any gas payments. What are you doing wrong? Things like that. They won't remove the manager, but they'll just try and figure out a way to say, hey, you're going to lose your bonus if you don't stop these gas payments.
I had to laugh at a listener comment in the chat here. You know you're being violated by management if they come up behind you and put their hands on both your shoulders. Yes, that would definitely constitute a hostile.
That in my eyes would constitute sexual harassment if they're touching me in any way, shape, or form. Whether it's even just a pat on the shoulder to try and have a discussion with me about something I did wrong. You don't
violated
touch
my
me.
personal space.
Mm-hmm.
Physical violation, regardless.
Yes.
So yeah, so 2025, definitely going to start the planning now that peak season is over with. Thank goodness. I was one of those that did not want to get up on Wednesday at all. Like, I have no energy. I have to cook dinner. I have to do this. I did not want to do it. I took a nap in the middle of the day. So now we got that set up. I can definitely start some time to sit down at the computer, put a slideshow together for edit books. I know that's a big one that we wanted to cover is edit books, and I would really like to do a slideshow presentation for that as much as possible. Yes. So we'll definitely have plans. We'll have things in the works, and hopefully we'll know what we're doing the following week and let you know at the end of the episode. Also, if you are in our Discord, we do have a new channel up there for our listeners, specifically for you guys. That is Podcast Improvement Ideas. So if you are in our Discord and you have any ideas on how we can make this better for you, the listener, please don't hesitate to put your ideas in there because they are read by all of us. We comment on them, and we definitely are taking note on that. So that came up within, when did I open up that channel? 2 days before Christmas. So actually not, it's only been a week. So yeah, it's
You're already getting suggestions in there right now as we speak. And
oh yeah.
I'm going to tell you this also. It is a place where you can also give us episode suggestions. So if you have something you think we should talk about, you can put it in there. And if you're not on our Discord server, why not? Come join us. Come chat with us. And I do know some people have technical difficulties with it, but if you're not on it and you need help getting on there, we have our podcast group where you can actually talk with individuals that are on the Discord server and get help.
Yep, we got the Facebook group, we got the Facebook page. You can message us, you can email us, all that good stuff. I will be updating the merchandise store here shortly. I haven't done anything with that. We haven't had any orders in a few months anyways. Any of the proceeds that go that, we literally make very little on any of that. I try to keep the cost down and very little money that goes to us. Anything that comes in as profit-wise, and I can tell you guys year-to-date, since I opened that up, has been less than $200 total that we have made off of all the orders. All that goes into production costs, whether that's subscriptions to our editing stuff or traveling for when we had the campaign shirts up there. That all went towards our campaign. All those lovely buttons that my daughter made while she was home pregnant were all those proceeds went towards that type of stuff. Nothing of that goes in our pockets, just so you guys know. But I'll be updating the merch store and updating the links on that soon too. So if anybody wants a t-shirt or a hoodie or something like that, definitely. If you want a keychain or a button or a magnet, email us, and I do have those available. I won't charge you guys for that other than shipping. So
yeah, like really, somebody said in the chat, entertainment isn't free, information isn't free, involvement isn't free. When you're out there perusing the internet, or you're on Facebook, or you're on even Discord here, if you're not paying for it, you're not the customer, you're the product.
Mm-hmm.
And like Facebook, you're the product. All those ads you see on Facebook, they're the customer, you're the product that's seeing those advertisements. They're selling to you. You're selling your visit to Facebook to these companies.
Yep. And that's why we don't run ads on our episodes, because that monetizes us, and I don't want that. We're not monetized. We don't do ads. We don't run ads. No, none of that.
And I wouldn't take a payment for doing this either, personally, because I believe that it is just for the people. You know, we are here to help. We're not here to make money off of people. We're not here to collect a paycheck. If we wanted to do that, we'd work. We have jobs. We work for the post office. We make our money delivering the mail and supporting the craft. And fighting for the craft is our passion.
The only reason we're here.
So yeah, we have no plans to monetize, no plans to put ads on. And when I update the merchandise store, that's just for people that want, like a t-shirt or a hoodie or something like that. I keep it as low as I possibly can go. I mean, literally like $2 or $3 gets sent to us out of the price that you pay. That literally, and then it sits in the PayPal account until a subscription is due to operate, for production-wise. That's it. I know people in the past have asked about if we were monetized, and I'm just going to iterate that. No, we are not monetized. No plans to be monetized, so you can enjoy listening to us ad-free unless the platform is automatically putting those in that we're unaware of. So
YouTube.
Yeah.
Usually you get 2 ads at the beginning, 2 ads in the middle, and 2 ads at the end.
Yeah. So, and that's not us. That's, like I said, the platform themselves.
Google making money off of you as the product.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
unless you have YouTube Premium.
Yeah, and I'm not paying for updating our YouTube stuff no, not doing it.
Nope.
I try not to put out as little
as
YouTube
Premium. YouTube Premium is for the people listening to us. Yeah. That if they pay for YouTube Premium so they can listen to YouTube music without leaving their phone unlocked and open, then they don't have commercials and they can lock their phone and still listen to their music. But so coming up, 2025. You guys expecting this to be a great year?
Well, I think still the biggest question on all of the rural carriers' minds are if we are going to have a TA this next year. And we don't know. We have no answer for that.
Well, remember, the rumor going around at National this year was that it was 99% complete.
AKA my standings on Tommy Turner. So, from the horse's mouth to God's ears. 99% means it's almost done. So what's that 1% holding it up?
The city carrier contract.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it had something to do with us.
And for those that don't know, city carrier TA ballots are supposed to be in by January 13th. So I imagine by sometime of middle February, we may find out whether or not they voted theirs in or not, and what the following steps will be. So I imagine we probably won't hear anything until, I don't know when. No answers, guys. We don't know.
And gathering from the different platforms out there, there is a huge rate of rejection for this tentative agreement.
At least according to social media. Now, you got to remember, there are a lot of city carriers that are not on social media, and there are a lot of carriers out there that have gone to their local meetings where their local board has turned around and said, you need to vote yes on this. Look at the size of the back pay check you're going to get for this. Like, no, I'll just wait 6 months and start a new contract negotiation while still running on the old one. Get the new one and have the back pay for the new contract on top of the old one.
And if you've noticed, any of the support for this tentative agreement have been coming from the old heads.
Mm-hmm. People who aren't affected by it.
Correct.
But there are some younger carriers out there who don't know any better, who are saying they're going to vote for it just because they're desperate for the money. There are people that are living out of their cars as mail carriers because they can't afford housing anymore because they aren't making enough money. And those are the ones that I feel the worst for. They don't have a house to live in. They don't have enough money for food by the end of the second week. They don't have enough money for basic necessities. And yet they're touting a great contract with this 1.3%. The interesting thing is I went back and I looked at our previous contract negotiations and the raises that we got in them. And one of the biggest raises we got since the 1970s was 2.6%. And the lowest one was 1.1%. So the only way that we can actually survive as an organization here is if we had 3.5% to 4% increases each year on this contract. That's
Not
the
a
minimum.
not a total for the term of the contract, but
Every year.
yes.
Every year. Because, yes, and the minimum contract increase should cover the rate of inflation that we've had in society. Yes, cost of living adjustments supposed to cover that, but these raise increases should be covering the cost of living that we've had over the last contract that the cost of living adjustments did not make up for.
And just
Well, the price
remember
of gas
that
is
if
coming
you are
down.
table 2, colas are prorated.
Mm-hmm. And
Price of
cost
gas
of
is
living
coming
should
down.
not be prorated because the cost of living doesn't change whether you're a table 1 step 1 or table 1 step 12 or table 2 step 1. The cost of living for you is exactly the same whether you're one or the other. It doesn't matter. So they should all be 100% across the board. This prorated BS is for the birds. It just increases the gap between old heads and new carriers. And on top of that, if you recall, I looked up the definition of a scab, and one of the definitions of a scab is a person working the same job for less pay. So I think Maston should put that in his repertoire that, when he calls somebody a scab, he needs to think about that table 2 people are considered scabs according to one of the multiple definitions of the term scab.
And there's
Well,
a
don't worry.
reason why.
We're all in this together. Remember, he said that.
No.
I mean, and you got to realize that's a reason why anytime this MOU is renewed for regular carriers to volunteer to assist or Sundays, and you always get the ones that we've talked to, the ones that have called the office, they want this, they want this. Well, yeah, they want it because they need it to afford to live.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's exactly what that is. And it's not necessarily that they want it, it's because they need it. And that's the issue.
Well, somebody's got to remind them not everybody's making $190,000 a year, Don.
Yeah. And I want to know who these carriers are that are getting through to him on the phone. Because every time I've called National, the only thing I get is voicemail unless I send a text message to somebody. When I call the actual National office, I cannot get through to anybody. And that's even when they are in the office, not like when they're taking the 2 days before Christmas all the way through just after till the second week of January after New Year's.
Yep.
Off.
Yeah, they'll be all over the phones tomorrow.
Well, I do get into the secretary at the main line, but then they forward me off to each person's department, and absolutely nobody answers the phone.
Yeah, you get to leave a voicemail for their assistants.
Yeah. And I'm still waiting on my call back from Tommy Turner.
Hence the reason I brought that up.
Email them with a red receipt. So yeah, 2025 can be an interesting year. We'll wait and see what happens. I mean, Who knows how many midweek bonuses we may end up with? We don't know. Those tend to be kind of fun. We'll keep the heated debate for those midweek bonuses. How's that, James?
I mean, you're going to have it midweek, Sunday, it doesn't matter, because you do know that the national office usually releases important things at 4 o'clock p.m. on a Friday night, so that way they're out of the office before anybody can call them about it. I mean, you haven't noticed that, have you?
I don't think I paid that much more attention,
There are some things that they release in the middle of the week or the beginning of the week, but those things aren't controversial. But if you go back and you look at when
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
I'm expecting we're going to get a January update from our president on the contract negotiations and how they're still negotiating. And they'll be giving us an update as soon as they figure out exactly what they're negotiating. February, we'll get the same video of their negotiating, and they'll let us know exactly what they're negotiating as soon as they have information on what they're negotiating. After the city carriers decide to reject their national agreement, March, we're still negotiating, and we'll let you know what we're negotiating when we can let you know what we're negotiating. And then city carriers will have to decide. They'll have to decide whether they're going to negotiate for 2 weeks or if they're just going to go straight to arbitration. And then we have to wait 2 or 3 months for the arbitration to be resolved with the city carriers before finally they'll be bringing us a tentative agreement, hopefully, that will mirror the arbitration that the CityCraft wins.
It scares me. I understood that.
We're looking at coming together on a lot of issues. I am working on a PowerPoint for resolutions for National Convention. I've almost got that completed. I have to have it ready for my local meeting in January. So I'll have that put together, and we can do a video on that as well, Kristen, if you want. We've got a big year ahead of us, and the biggest thing that we want to focus on is you. So this episode is going to be on our podcast group page. So if you have suggestions, comment below it. Let us know on there as well, because that's another avenue to let us know what you want to hear from us. Because just as much as it's our presentation and us 3 friends getting together to discuss this stuff, it's also about you and your participation in it.
Absolutely. All right, we can't do this without you guys. Your input is very important to us. So on that note, guys, we want to wind it down for tonight.
Sure.
Yes, I want to celebrate the Eagles' victory over the Cowboys.
Oh, please, that wasn't a victory.
Oh, let me tell you, the first 10 minutes of that game was scary. Gee.
How you were playing the Cowboys?
Yeah, but they marched right down the field. If it wasn't for an interception return, we wouldn't have had any points in the first quarter. Oh, fender bender, boy! Wash your mouth out, Jesus! Oh God!
I mean,
back next year.
you were playing the Cowboys. I guess you guys just were a little bit too celebratory the night before or something when you were playing the Cowboys, because there is no way you guys could have lost that game against the Cowboys.
No, unless the plane crashed, and it was at home, so it had to crash the whole damn stadium.
All right,
you got to realize we ended up playing our 3rd string quarterback, and he even scored 2 touchdowns against the Cowboys.
So they were letting him get some practice in.
Yes. And yes, the Cowboys will be back next year, and they'll still suck.
And I'm actually surprised they didn't put the 4th string quarterback in for a little bit of practice.
They would have, but he was the mascot, so he
okay.
was kind of he was the beer salesman in the 4th aisle there. Oh, cold beer here.
That's kind of like the emergency goalie in hockey.
I've done that.
So. All right. Well, football talk there, because It's not an episode without the football this time of year.
Oh, let's talk about the Lions.
Yeah, go Lions! Sorry.
See, there we go. There we go. Yeah.
Well,
How about the Vikings?
The Vikings are tied with them right now. I mean, they're a game ahead because the Lions don't play until tomorrow night, which
Right.
after this episode is aired, it'll be the day of or have passed. But if the Lions win tomorrow, they will be tied going into the game against them. So whoever wins that will be the NFC champion, the NFC North champion. So it's going to be interesting to see. We're not putting that on the air, but
I wanted to read it. I'm reading
I'll do it.
If the Lions and Eagles meet in the playoffs, James and Bill should have a gentleman's bet involving pink thongs.
I'll do it.
I would then I would design a pink thong with the Lions logo and one for the Eagles logo for both of the gentlemen.
Oh, poor Gina is new to our discussions here. Doesn't know anything about the pink thong.
We'll tell you about it in the post show. So if you're not on our Discord, you can't be part of the post show conversation. So now this is your hint that hey, there may be something interesting in our pre and post show that you should join our Discord server. # shameless plug.
And where's my picture with me and my pink thong?
I'm on table 2. I can't afford them.
Shut up! You just spent $700 on a new system. Okay.
That was so I could present here with you guys.
So okay, I mean, I get my thong for $1.39.
Is that
I don't shop Timu or Timu or whatever it's pronounced.
Do you purchase the hot pink yarn and have somebody knit it for you? Is that what you're doing for $1.39?
No, I just go to the Goodwill box and go diving. That's all.
Oh Lord!
Oh, they're not $1.39 at Goodwill anymore because of all the people with Facebook Marketplace. They've raised the price. Now it's $25.
Oh, dang! Hey, I'll be wearing that Saturday right there. Thong slipper. There we go. No, that's too much material. Sorry, FC.
I said, okay, guys, all right. Let's wind this down and we can start the post show.
This should have all been post show. This should all been post show.
This is the post show preview. So if you guys want to really jump in, yeah, you'll have to come to the Discord. So, anyways,
again, too much material.
Oh,
all right. Your final words for this evening, James.
Wow. Wow. So, 2025 is coming up. The most important aspect of 2025 is going to be how this craft responds to being abused. Not just by management, but by the MOUs that have come out. By the treatment of management using those MOUs, losing money left and right. It is time for us as a craft to stand up together. Now, I started my page, James Brennan for NRLCA President, with the goal of spreading my message. But the goal of that is to get everybody together. It's time for this union to become one voice, one set of people with one mission, and that is for the betterment of the rural carrier craft, so that not only the regular carriers can reach retirement, but the new RCAs and the RCAs that are hired after them. Because without a strong union, without strong representation, this craft won't last long. We need to stand up and show management we're all in this together.
Bill?
James is right. We have to unify craft, and that's RCAs, that's carriers. The difficult part of it is that there's so many people out there looking out for themselves and not for the general welfare of the craft. I've seen situations where people have turned on each other. I have seen situations, especially in my office, where we stand up for each other. And there's times in my office where we've had carrier on carrier hate, and somebody like myself steps out and says, "Hey, let's knock that down a notch or two. You don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all." Because of the fact that, you don't need the tension on the floor. We have enough tension being in an STC with team micromanagers coming around every day, giving you different sets of instructions. Got to bring the craft together. And just like being a steward, you may not like the person, but you have the responsibility to represent them and represent them equally as you would a friend. So in that light, please treat each other respectfully. Help each other if you can. Help the RCAs. They're the ones that are struggling the most because of the fact that they're being treated like slave labor, for lack of a better word. And they're often, a lot of them, are in their 90 days and are afraid to say something. That's one of the hardest stigmas to ever overcome. It's, well, I'm in my 90 days. They can fire me. They're so afraid of losing their jobs that they'll do whatever they're told. And that's wrong. But that's life. That's the way it is in the post office. Learn the contract. Learn the 603. Learn the M38. Learn Rex. Learn RCAM. Learn the ELM. Keep learning. The more you know, the more dangerous you are to management. The more people on the floor will come to respect you. I had plenty of people in my office didn't like me. And vice versa, I didn't like them. But they respected my knowledge and the authority that I asserted over management. And they stepped out of bounds. So, try to build people up instead of tearing them down. This life's too short to be going through life like that all the time, angry at someone or something. Try a little kindness, try a little understanding, try looking from another person's perspective. Because you don't know what's going on in their personal life. You don't know what they're being burdened with as far as a sick relative or, spouse, child. So have a little empathy. But most of all, stand up for each other. And when you're out there, here we are in the winter months, it's dark, it's stormy. Be careful, do your job diligently, professionally, best of your ability. Get your ass home safe and sound, because you are the most important delivery of the day. And you cannot be replaced at home. At the job, yes. At home, you're irreplaceable. God bless you all. Good night. Kristen?
Thank you, guys. Yeah, definitely. As we're looking on to a new year fast approaching us this week, and I'm looking forward to bringing things back down to the basics and getting back on the education train. So definitely looking for that input from you, the listener, whether it's email, Facebook group, Discord, however you feel, private message, whatever works for you guys. You guys got it. You got input. You have ideas. Please reach out to any one of us. Or like I said, you could email us. You can message the Facebook page, message us individually, however wish it works for you the best. Excuse me there for a minute. But yeah, definitely I'm looking forward to this new year and to see where things go. Be there for your coworkers, educate yourself. We can't stress that enough. We've been doing that from the very beginning and stressing on educating yourself. You don't know if you're aggrieved if you don't know your own contract or your own rights and responsibilities. If you don't know those and educate yourself on those, you don't know when you're being aggrieved, and you're just becoming a yes man to management. Same with the Rex. We're in what, 2 years into this now? A year going on 2 years into this being active, and there's still a lot of people that don't understand it. Our management failed in training. We're not going to rehash that one again, but that will definitely be another thing that we try to cover. Hopefully, early on into this year is RX and the scans and what things mean and how, I mean, there's a 99-page comprehensive guide on the NRLCA website. I highly suggest you get in there and download it. It is a lot of technical terms, but there is important information in there. And yeah, I see a lot of these carriers whose routes, this is literally where your route evaluation is on you. I mean, a lot of it is, and not necessarily, there are some things that we have no control over, but 75, 90 to 90% of it is on the carrier themselves and those scans that they input in daily. Whether it's a trip to a door or an authorized dismount, an unscanned parcel, and a lot of those things that management tries to benchmark, which they can't. The same with end of shift duties and mapping. I mean, offices I know that still haven't mapped in going on a year. And grievances filed, and grievances filed, and grievances filed, and they still can't get it taken care of. I mean, this is the stuff that needs to be tackled, and the only people that can tackle it is you guys, the carriers on the floor, and standing up for yourselves, and standing up for each other, and helping educate other carriers. And I get it. You have carriers that have been around for a long time that are set in their ways, or set in the old school ways, and they don't handle change well. Or we have RCAs who just think, whatever, I'm just the sub, I'm running this route and part of this route today, and I don't care. We need to get it in their heads on these leave replacements that's their paycheck too. You have some of these offices where RCAs are not working 40 hours. That's their paycheck when they're being paid by evaluation. That's something that they need to know if, they're looking at going and being a regular carrier and maintaining a route and keeping that route where it should be evaluated somewhat fairly, is knowing how to do these things properly. It's not just because you're a leave replacement, it's because, eventually you are going to be a regular. And what's going to happen if you get put on a route that is way under evaluated because the old carrier just didn't care because they knew they were retiring? This is where, knowing the knowledge and knowing how to apply it in those right times to apply it, and training those new ones as they're coming in and how to do things properly and what they're doing. I mean, that's what we need to do. That's part of the message that we have here. But it's really every single one of you in the offices putting that work into with each other, not just yourself, but helping your coworkers as much as you can. I know there's resistance out there, but it's not being... You're gonna get it. I mean, it's like that old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't always make it drink. We know that. I mean, I've got people in my office like that too. I understand. It is hard. But you just have to remember, we're all in this together. We all need to stand up together. We need to stand up for ourselves. We need to stand up for our casemate, for our RCAs, for our PTFs, for that person that's on the verge of retiring. It's just something, being active, being involved, whether it's just going to your local meetings, whether it's just sending in your ballot for a national delegate, or it's a contract ratification ballot. Some of those simplest things could have big influences and big changes. I mean, when you only have 12 to 20% actually returning a ballot, I mean, that's minute numbers that are making decisions for the entire craft. So that's where you need to step up. Hey guys, ratification ballot's coming. Hey guys, national delegate ballot's coming. I'm on that list. Please vote for me. Even if I'm the only name that you fill in the circle for and send it back. At least that's something. Doing even from that perspective, or people, I don't know any of these people, and if you happen to know some of those people in the office, then say, okay, yes, I know who this person is, and this and that. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. So, anyways, guys, 2025, I'm hoping to be quite a bit more positive year for us, and we definitely can't do that without you, the listeners. I want everybody to stay safe this year. Stay safe this week. Weather, mine's been all over the place. It got warm into the 40s, rain. It's supposed to get cold again tomorrow night. Be safe out there on the ice, the snow, the rain. I've seen an LLV or an FFV, whatever it was, that got flipped by a tornado in Texas on the social webs this week. I mean, definitely stay safe. Watch out for one another out there. And most importantly, everybody, have a very safe New Year's Eve. I don't want to stress it enough. I don't want to hear about people going out and unfortunately we losing them New Year's Eve because they didn't call for a ride share, or a lot of areas offer free transportation if you're going out for New Year's. Definitely look into that, or take a designated driver. Stay safe at home, whatever it takes. But we will definitely see you back into the new year. We won't have Bill with us next Sunday, as he'll be down in the Dominican Republic. I am jealous because I haven't been there in 3 years, and I really love the Dominican Republic. But Bill, enjoy. We will miss you next week. If anybody wants to hop up and join us next week as a special guest, let us know. You can do that too. We will definitely weed it out beforehand and vet you in. But on that note, I'm going to stop rambling now, and we will be back next week. Happy New Year's, everybody. We look forward to a prosperous 2025.
I'm sorry, would you like me to lick my lips a few times for you, Bill?
Don't tease me, James.